is Friday at Henley Royal Regatta and we are fast approaching the business end of this first ever jam-packed 6-day event. For many of the crews, they've already faced fierce battles just to make it to this stage. But for others, particularly some of the overseas visitors, they've had a tantalising wait to make their debut at an event that is revered around the world.
I love Henley because of the competition and the fact that you can come over here and compete against some of the best teams in the world.
Just to have the opportunity to race in this kind of atmosphere, it's an experience of a lifetime.
It's fantastic, and so it's an honor to be able to bring over a crew from Yale and compete in the regatta.
It's just something different, something unique, something special.
I love Henley because it's unlike any regatta I've ever experienced before, and I love the teamwork that we all put into it, the camaraderie we get out, and how much fun it is.
I love Henley because it's fun.
I love Henley because there's so many different people from so many different places, and it's such an incredible experience to bring everyone together for the love of rowing and for the love of the sport.
This year, the calibre of international entries has gone through the roof. At the start of the week, out of a field of 419 crews, there were 12 Olympic champions from Tokyo 2020. They come from as far afield as New Zealand, Australia and China, and there's also a particularly strong contingent from America. In our first race, we're featuring the Redwood Scullers, who had their work cut out in the Stoner Challenge Cup up against a unique Polish-Ukrainian duo who'd only recently come together.
And another international matchup here, Burek and Kobysz-Szewska from Ukraine and Poland against the crew from the United States of America, Baha and Mead.
Yeah, there's a lot of experience in that Ukrainian-Polish double, and the US are relative newcomers, having raced junior internationals and starting to start their international career, whereas there's a lot of experience in that Ukrainian-Poland double, and that's showing early here with that early lead and that great start they've had. It's a wonderful experience for them to get to race at Henley, isn't it? Having raced so much internationally, racing between them, they've both done the Olympics several times. In the strokes, obviously winning the bronze in Rio and racing in the quad at Tokyo, silver in the quad at Tokyo, which is incredible in itself. But actually, Elena in the bow, she's actually even won and is the current coastal rowing world champion, as well as an indoor rowing world champion, and having rowed at rowed at the World Championships and all sorts of accolades. So sort of very talented in lots of different disciplines of rowing, which is incredible.
Yeah, the Ukraine has been very supportive of the coastal rowing discipline. We've seen great strength from the athletes competing both in flat water and coastal rowing, as you mentioned, Adam. But this form double, who would absolutely be two of the favourites to take up this event, Burek and Kobysz-Szewska from Poland and the Ukraine, both two-time Olympians. Agnieszka in the stroke seat, a two-time Olympic medalist, in fact, in the women's quadruple scull for Poland, as they come down to the line now. Great last sprint here from the US double, actually. Really trying to turn the screw and claw down that deficit. That's brilliant. Let's hope the steering stays on course. It's just coming up. Oh, very close. Oh, great right there, as we see the girls pointing to the heart on their rowing suits.
When the big names come out, the banks get even more packed, and the crowds had plenty to cheer about in our next two key head-to-heads.
So back up to the start, Temple Island, we're approaching lunchtime, but we've got the Stoner next on the water. And this is the French against the New Zealanders, another truly international lineup. Lefebvre and Rivera against Kennedy and Kiddle. You can see Kennedy and Kiddle in the black, New Zealanders on Temple Island, just drifting out towards the middle. But this, again, for a race, this is going to shape up to be a very good tussle in the Stoner Challenge Cup. These are the live pictures of women's double sculls.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of this New Zealand doubles crew. Maybe it's a bit biased, but I really like the way that the New Zealanders are rowing at the moment, sculling very, very direct around the front end, and seem to be moving away lots of pedigree in the New Zealand boat.
Yeah, they're selected lightweight double, aren't they, for New Zealand? And that classy, very established pair. This is the French national double you're watching in the picture. In the bow seat, Rivera. And they are having a good tussle with the New Zealanders. You might be somewhat surprised at the quality. It's a lightweight against an open weight. And this could be a very good finish, this race.
It looks to me dead level at the moment here, Tim. With that camera angle.
They've been racing together as a double since 2015, Rivera and Lefebvre, so they're very experienced. They finished 5th in Rio, 8th in Tokyo. France have never won a women's event at Henley. They might get through to the semi-finals here, though. In the Stoner, they're going to beat the New Zealanders in front of Stewart's on the Berkshire Station.
Really impressive row here.
Pull the length clear. The New Zealanders of Kittle and Kennedy, you can see on the all black on the Buck Station, can't keep pace with the French, and that's a bit of a surprise as we head towards lunch on day 4. Over the line they go, the French, really impressive. Rivera and Lefebvre winning in the Stoner heat there. Yeah, celebrations, you can understand why. That's a big win for them against Kennedy and Kittle of New Zealand. This is a postponed race in the town. It's the Leander Club A against Rowing Australia. They had a mishap before the scheduled start. Equipment problems as a result. And now they're on the water and able to go. This is the last race before lunch on the Friday of Henley Royal Regatta. In, we reckon, perfect conditions, Alex, don't we? Just watching actually from the start, Rowing Australia heading a bit central, but now further down the course. They've settled onto their Buck side. And they're doing okay on the Buck Station there. They've got a good line, but Leander Club A leading at the moment. Halfway stage approaching. Is that fair? Perfect conditions, we're thinking?
No, it's not. It's not perfect conditions.
It's not bad.
Nothing is perfect.
Yeah, you're never perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing's perfect. But Leander are rowing very, very well.
Nice to watch.
I believe they're coached by Ross Barnes. Ross Hunter.
Yes.
Ross Hunter, who was his brother was here just before me, and
Mark Hunter. Yeah.
Mark Hunter running a great women's program, and it's great to see these Leander athletes who are not training down at the full-time centre, kind of making a major impact on the Australians.
We're just having a look. This race is hotting up as we head to lunch. This is the final race before lunch, and there's nothing in it at all in the Town Challenge Cup. Rowing Australia to the right of your picture, Leander Club to the left as they head in front of Stewards, and it's neck and neck. Here are Leander Club. There's the back of Sam Corty in the bow seat for Leander, and they're getting roared home. This is where home advantage could tell, because clearly Leander Club are going to have so much to
we got a fantastic race on our hands here, Tim. Big changes in boat speed in the Cox's 4, so you can get the boat to move quite quickly, and it looks like.
Well, there's nothing in it at all. Leander Club on the Berkshire Station. You've got the Australians on the Buck Station as they head for the line. The last race before lunch, the rescheduled race, was worth the wait. Leander now trying to make advantage tell, trying to use all that local experience and the local support. Leander pushing for the line. Last couple of strokes now. Leander have just made it, just in front of the Australians, perhaps 2 or 3 feet, not much more than that. Really tight finish, Leander. Look, they are absolutely spent at the end of that race. Every ounce of effort they could muster. You can see Isabel Powell slumped over her oars.
We're now moving into the afternoon session, and our next race, another cracker in the Thames Challenge Cup between Thames Rowing Club B and Sydney Rowing Club.
Attention!
That always feels a long pause waiting for this moment, and finally they can unleash. Birds flying in all directions as the 2 crews power down along the island. Clean start, straight to the race.
of that explosion from the nerves and the silence to the force and the power. There's the Thames Rowing Club B crew. 30 Henley appearances between them, so that's a lot of experience, a lot of familiarity of getting off cleanly from the start, stretching out into their rhythm, real focus through this race.
Yeah, we talk about how different this regatta can feel, and the experience can count. You know, it's a different warm-up style. There's different things affect the water that can affect your rhythm. There's obviously boats going by. You've got very, very close side-by-side racing by this, so the experience really matters when it gets to this level of competition.
Yeah, and it's going to be quite a good race here. You can see the Australians looking like they're slightly in front already. Really strong, solid rowing from them. Just look at that, smooth, lots of power in that boat. But it looks to me like Thames, well, they have really dug deep, and they have moved back a little bit on Sydney. They're keeping the overlap, and that's going to be something which Sydney don't want to see. Both of these crews had a couple of rounds of relatively comfortable races to get here. It's the first time they're both being tested.
Yeah, and this is the interesting bit. When we get to sort of the Friday of the regatta, then there's no simple races left. Every race is going to ask everything of these athletes, and they've already got a couple of days racing in all their legs. So, the fatigue is kicking in, and yet every race almost matters more as you get towards this point.
And you can see through the splashes of water we're facing here, some of the heads in the Thames boat just looking around to see, were we still in contact? Are we starting to move? David Potter at bow, we could see in the Thames crew's head just looking across. And once you start to get a sniff that you're moving, if you're sitting in the bow or two seat, the first thing you do is go, yeah, let's go, we're moving. And the rest of the crew get a lift from that. And I guess that's what's happening right now.
Yeah, you get that lift from within the boat, but look at the crowds down the banks as well. I mean, this is again a regatta. You are so close to the public roar and the public cheer. So the Thames are getting a lot of home support as well from this crowd.
You can hear it from the commentary boxes. She's just on the finish line. The crowd are rising to their feet, rushing to the bank to see this great race unfolding. But it looks like the Australians, who've had the edge all the way through, looks like they've been able to sustain that lead. The attack from Thames B came, and it's coming again as they come towards the line. Well, back to about a quarter to a third of the length over the Thames B crew from the Australians. What a row, what a race.
Here at the boat tents, there's a wonderful mix of youngsters among the many Olympic champions competing here. One team who've really made an impact on Henley in recent years is the China national team. They came here in 2019 and tasted success for the first time and are now a regular feature of the event. In the open women's quadruple sculls, the Chinese crew consisted of no less than 3 Tokyo gold medalists. They were up against Leander, and despite the local club giving it their all, they were no match for the heavyweight favourites.
So the reigning Olympic champions, demonstration quad sculling from these 4 Chinese women as they pass through the stewards' enclosure. Members and guests get to their feet to applaud quality sculling, the world's best, to welcome them to Henley. Just raising the race of striking, just final push to the line for them.
I used to love that. Just the last few strokes, just lift it for those crowds and just sort of finish the race in style, knowing there's more to come tomorrow.
There we go, the Chinese happy to cross the line, enjoy the Henley course for the first time, and here come Leander, great credit to them. Ella Toa has a glance over her shoulder at bow to check she's on track. Look at where that finish post is. Well, here it is, Ella crossing the line, great credit to them, a chance to test themselves against the world's best.
Now, USA's Megan Musnicki was out on the river today, and while she was quick to point out that some of the British crews might be used to this unique Thames course, despite her 2 Olympic medals, she still finds it a little daunting.
There's no other experience like it. I mean, when you race at strictly international national team events, it's very regimented, and the lanes are all, there's 6 of them, there's wide, there's not wooden things next to them, there's not all of these pleasure boats out there. It's a little bit like the head of the Charles, but condensed into a smaller area with the gusts and the wakes that come across. And so I'm in a 2-person boat, and I actually control the steering with my foot. And if you lose focus on one of the dozens of different things that you're thinking about, you could potentially steer off, and you have to immediately correct that, or you're up against the boom, or you're impeding the crew next to you. So it's a constant balance of what you're focusing on. We hit the boom today. We brushed it. I was like, Jess, I just wanted to make sure it was still there. But no, she did a great job. My pair partner Jess Morrison did a wonderful job and recovered from it. And I was like, sorry about that, but took it in stride, and you can just keep going, right? Like it sounds ridiculous, but it's all part of the experience.
As the afternoon wore on, the racing seemed to get closer and closer, and once again it was the foreigners showing flair.
I've been looking forward to this one. It's the Princess Elizabeth Challenge Cup. King's School Parramatta from Australia with the blue, and on the right of the picture with the white oars and singlets, it's St Paul's School from here in the USA. This could be an absolute cracker.
Yeah, we have this down as one of our races to watch. Everybody's watching on the banks on this, and it is looking like a huge head-to-head here. Parramatta are going toe-to-toe with St Paul's. We have class crews, King's School Parramatta. They've been building for 2 to 3 years, bringing in new coaches to get themselves ready to come and face the rest of the world at the Princess Elizabeth Challenge Cup. But St Paul's, they have such a record here. They are at the moment managing to squeeze ahead. St Paul's have been a little quieter on the scene the last couple of years, but they're also building. We all remember 2018 when they were record-breaking, and one of the most watched videos on the Henley Royal Regatta website because they were supreme. And they are showing that coming into form here.
Well, here it comes. It's now or never from the young men from Sydney. St Paul's are in a good position here. Sydney attack, but I think it looks to me like St Paul's have responded there. Philip Wolfensberger in the stroke seat, only 16. Behind him, Felix Peerless, 16 as well. They've got the youngest 2 rowers in the boat in the stern, usually where you have experience. Of course, I missed out there for a second. Alp Cardogan at 15 years old in the 5 seat, so it really is a young St Paul's crew, but rowing with maturity. Youth in the stern, youth in the powerhouse in the middle, and well, they're doing incredibly well at this point.
They're doing so well, aren't they? And Alp Cardogan, he broke the under-14 2K world record in February, 6:13.3. If anybody want to take on that 14-year-old, he's just turned 15, and he is the powerhouse in a St Paul's crew that gains speed with every single round they go through. But Parramatta are trying to take it up another gear. They have to do it now.
Lawrence Cleave in the Cox's seat of Parramatta will be calling for everything they've possibly got. And Dimitri Duta at stroke lifts his crew to attack for the final time. St Paul's, well, they've rowed with confidence and maturity. They are sitting with overlap, but a comfortable margin, I think, enough for them for the last 5 or so strokes as they approach the finish line.
Some of the old favourites are doing so well. Eton and Radley this morning, and now St Paul's showing that they belong up with the very best of schoolboy rowing in 2022.
Well, congratulations to St Paul's. They've booked their spot on Saturday at Henley. They'll be really delighted about that, this young crew raising to celebrate their victory and congratulate St King's School Parramatta that they've defeated. It's the double sculls. It's the open men's double sculls, and we've got New Zealand on the left of our picture and France and Netherlands on the right of our picture. Here we go.
Two quality crews. Let's see what happens. We had a great heat this morning in the doubles, really impressive, and we're looking to see who's going to go through. We've got international experience here throughout this race, and they're going to take it toe-to-toe. They've gone off pretty straight. Some of the best steering we've seen there, I think. Very clean, real power, both of these crews. Yeah,
on the left it's the New Zealand selected lightweight men's double, and on the right of our picture we've got a composite between French and Dutch. We've got Wiebo Rustenberg at bow here in the, at stroke here in the Netherlands-France composite, and behind him sits Guillaume Tourlan from France. And they've come together through a shared relationship. A sibling is dating the other, and Guillaume Tourlan, one of the Tourlan twins from the Tokyo French pair that finished 3rd in the B final.
Yeah, of course, that's complicating, isn't it? Not just sort of, rowing connections, but family connections inside of that. But this is a phenomenal race. They are really taking it to each other, and the Kiwis now they've been sharpening up, making a move in the middle of the race here, starting to creep ahead and asking questions of Rustenberg and Tourlan. They will be talking to each other, keeping each other really motivated. There's a lot of experience here. Rustenberg was in the Cox's 4 in the World Cup 1. Tourlan raced, in the under-23s, won a medal there. He raced with his brother in Tokyo. So, they have got some, all sorts of background experiences to draw on and race experiences to think, what are the tactics? But basically, it's put a push in, get your technique right, get yourselves up for it and go again.
Being warned again for their steering, so that's something that they're struggling with. And can they manage to steer and correct that while continuing to keep the advantage over the New Zealanders? They keep coming and they keep coming. You know, if you're sitting in that pair, in that double, and you're tiring, well, the Kiwis just keep coming. A little glance over the shoulder from Bao from Bao Guillaume Toulan there, and wondering what's happening as they're closing stages of this race.
So the Kiwis are taking it up again. We know that Kiwis are always so ferocious finishing, but there's still more power coming down from that French and Dutch combination.
Well, it could be too much now. The power at the beginning and the end of the course from the heavyweight crew, the smoothness and the efficiency from New Zealand through the middle. Have the New Zealand got a crazy final gear to offer?
What an amazing fight to the very last stroke. The Kiwis, their heads are shaking as they try to go again.
Wow, that was a really amazing doubles race there. Lightweights against heavyweights, but confirmation of the result. Wustenberg and Toulan from France and Netherlands beating Dunham and Stockley from New Zealand.
Well, that's it from another great day here at Henley. I'm sure you can hear the evening entertainment is now getting underway. For now, it might be party time, but tomorrow it is all about the serious racing out here on the water. It is semi-final Saturday. Our coverage gets underway at 10 o'clock and it is not one to miss, so we'll see you then.